All right. Well, we're here with Tasmanian Tiger Charlie Wakim, a good mate of mine from our days playing together in Sydney. And thanks for coming on board, Charlie. Great to see you, mate.
No worries. Thanks, Dawes, for having me.
Well, it's a big week for you, mate. The Shield Final against WA.
Yeah,
Congratulations, first and foremost.
yeah. Thanks.
You got to be pretty
Yeah,
happy
no,
with how your season's gone.
yeah. It sort of took a different trajectory than it was probably planned, but thrilled to get to a Shield final. It's one of the main goals we as a squad probably, well, every team I reckon at the start of the year sort of has in their change room, and to get there is something we're really proud of. But it's still one big more step to go.
As they say, one day at a time, etc.
Yes,
Yeah,
that's
but
it. Yeah.
I mean, your journey's obviously I've been following along closely as a mate of yours, but you've got to be proud of your season. I was looking up the stats before you. I think you're sixth on the Shield runs
Mm.
in a season where there wasn't, huge runs scored across the board across the country. I mean, our mate Beau Webster has a
Yeah.
an outstanding season, absolutely killing it. The old
Rare.
Kingdom
Yeah.
Knight,
Yeah.
but I mean, other than him, there's a big clog of batters coming through. And you're right up there with the top sort of five or six there. So, um, as I said before, you've got to be proud of that. Even though I guess we all think, oh, I could have done a bit more, or so on and
Mm.
so forth. I mean, I know that's your mindset. I'm sure you'll say that to me, but
Yeah.
um, objectively, you're coming in the top five or six batters in the country. So that's a great achievement.
Yeah. No, thanks. And you're right. It is. You always, as cricketers, you think, oh, if I'd just not played that shot, or because I'd gotten myself off to a good start at the start of the year, and probably didn't cash in at the back half when other people started scoring. So, but look, yeah, as a whole, thrilled for the season individually. One more game and one couple more big performances would be the icing on the cake. But yeah, it's, as I said, it's probably not the route that I was expecting, or a lot of people were. But it's funny, you get an opportunity, and if you take it, you can have 2 or 3 good days in a season, and it changes your life for the next few years. So it's funny.
Yeah. How do you balance that mentality of I mean, I've been there myself. The challenge of like objectively doing okay, but always thinking that you can do more and trying to maintain your confidence throughout that process. Like how do you manage the disappointment of say a 70 where you think, geez, I could have got 150 there and it might have changed things compared to, okay, I got a 70, let's move on. Like, do you have a process that you work through to kind of just move on to the next innings or the next contest or what have you?
Yeah, I like, it's something that it evolves as like I've had different things in the past throughout my career, but I definitely think as I've gotten older, I don't know why. I mean, it's just through life experience, but I've gotten a lot better at leaving the result at the ground that day and allowing myself to be, angry, upset, whatever, for that little bit of time after you get out, go through my process of just reflecting on it. But once you get a little bit of perspective outside the game, I think it's just allowed me to be a lot freer when I'm there and more present. And now, like, all I've said since the start of preseason this year is I just want to have fun and enjoy my cricket and play cricket the way that I always have. Sometimes, especially as bad as you get sucked into trying to be perfect. And
Yeah.
I've realised, like, even watching the Aussie Test team and how good those batters are, like, not many of them you'd watch and say they're perfect. So I
No.
think, like, it took a while for me to probably coming into a professional system to understand that you've actually got to find your own way, and then balancing sort of expectations with reality and what happens. I just got to think, you got to keep asking yourself, why are you doing it? Are you enjoying it? And those, if I can answer those with questions like, because I'm having fun, because I love what I do, it's pretty easy, I think.
Yeah, I think correct me if I'm wrong, but having being a married man with a little boy, Freddie, now must assist in giving you some purpose and some drive and some balance off the pitch.
Yeah, like everyone says it, but you get home and everything sort of doesn't matter anymore. So yeah, and yeah, I mean, there's times when I was, a few years ago before all of that, I stew on a dismissal overnight and even for a while, and it just lingers. And then I think you can actually create problems out of that. And then you sort of question like, oh, am I doing the right prep? And I think there's a difference between sort of like questioning your prep and expanding and trying new things, but still sticking true to what works. I think I've had different processes throughout my professional career of, day before and game day, and I've had success doing a few different things. So I don't think there's one way that that I would strictly define it. As long as I feel that I'm comfortable and I've done I feel comfortable and ready to go. That's usually enough.
I think that level of trust in your game is possibly learnt in all of our games over time. That kind of ability just to go, okay, I've done what I can. I'm prepared the best I can, and then the results will take care of themselves. And then if you have an off day, you can move on, rather than sort of spiraling into a mindset of like, could I do more? What have I done? This kind of insecurity around your preparation or whatever. I guess the more experienced guys, and listening to you talk now, you're definitely in that boat now with good 5-6 years of professional career, and obviously 20 plus years of high level cricket behind you. You've really got that. You've come to that kind of understanding in your mind of how what is your game and how you prepare, and you can sort of trust and be comfortable in that space. I find with a lot of the younger guys we have are still trying to learn that process and understand what is their game, and it is challenging when you fail to think, have I done enough? Do I need to do more, etc.
Yeah, and it's like I'm probably most filthy at myself when if I look back on an innings or a game, and I know that there was something I didn't do in the lead up, or something I didn't do that's within my normal process. That's when I can go, it was either just like a mishap or something didn't go right for me to tick the box that I need to tick. Regardless of the shot you play or the ball you get, it's like, did I give myself the best chance to perform that ball? That's kind of what I go. That's a lot of my like mid ball routine or while I'm batting. That's kind of some of the things I think about. Like, just give yourself the best chance.
Yeah, that's right. For the next ball. I was a bit the same towards the end. I thought, if I'm in the best headspace to play the next ball to the best of my ability, and I get out, then so be it. But at least I'm in the best headspace. And then the conversation comes around, what are the things you need to do leading up to a game to get into that sort of carefree, easy mindset to be able to perform at your best.
Yeah, it's not easy. You can't just go, just chill out and rock up and be happy, and because that's just not life. You can't just force yourself into it. But yeah, I mean, the best players, you definitely see they just are able to switch and turn it on and get in competitive mode, regardless of their personality on or off the field. They've got that personality on field that just is like competitive mode, I think.
Yeah, and I think you touched on it before, just in regards to like having that clarity now comes from just a bit of experience from your time in the saddle, perhaps.
Yeah. This is my 7th year in Tassie, and I've been in and out of the team countless times. Couldn't even tell you how many times, but yeah, it's the combination of figuring it out yourself, succeeding, failing, and also watching other guys in the squad who have success and talking to them and seeing what they do, and leaning on coaches. I think that's kind of, that recipe is a makeup of how I've gotten to where I am. Not to say that I'm anywhere near where I want to be, but it definitely puts you on a path to at least achieve that stage of comfort in your own game, or at least in your own approach.
Who are the guys in the squad now that you look towards or look up to or have learnt from over your time there? I mean, you've been lucky enough to be in and around, some great players, the Matthew Wades and the Tim Payne when he was around for a bit and the like, some of the Australian players. But is there anyone in particular that Jordan Silk, I know you're good mates with Silky.
Yeah. We've had, as you said, we've had a lot of, good batters and, Australian players, full stop, come through. Wade has been enormous for me. He came onto contract the same year I did down in Tassie. He was obviously very successful with Victoria, but he's probably someone that me coming in, it's just so beneficial to see someone who's so comfortable in how he approaches the game and so clear. He just talks it as if it's so simple, and it's given me a lot more clarity probably in the last two years. Earlier on, I don't know, I probably wasn't in the team as much, but now, having played a lot with him, it's good to see, it's good to see how he trains, how he approaches game day, and then when you're batting with him, just sort of how clear he is in his plans. It's almost like, and then when he talks, there's no indecision. It's clear. If he doesn't make the right decision, then it's all right. He gets over it and moves on. Other guys you mentioned, Jordan Silk, he's probably played a few different batting roles in our team. Up the top of the order, found his spot in the middle, bit of a leader in the group. He does it a different way to a lot of others. Not afraid to question his own processes, his own technique. Thinks really broadly about the game, and he's really inquisitive of what everyone else is doing. I think that's what makes him quite a good leader. He's really interested in everyone's personal game and how they approach it. Even a close mate of mine, Nathan Ellis, who's a bowler, obviously, but moved down here together, and just to see his work ethic, probably something that, everyone talks about it and how he puts in 110%, but I've seen it since he was, 18 at club level and for St George and here at Lindisfarne. And then having lived with him for a while, just sort of see how much you want it and the discipline that it takes for him to get to the places that he's going now. Australia, IPL, pretty much living the cricketer's dream at the moment. But it's just, it's just that he's just that example of pure hard work and backing yourself.
Well, that shows on the pitch with him as well, isn't it? Everything he does is 100% effort. I mean, that's a great story, Nate's story, right? Just to give all young aspiring cricketers just the notion that you're always closer than you actually think. Nate was toiling away at St George, when we were playing against him for UNSW, and he wasn't really.
You got a match-winning 100 too at Hurstville, remember?
Well, okay, I'll take it. He bowled well that day, knocked you over with a good one, I remember.
Yeah, he got five for. I remember.
And me and the DOS man got it home at the end. Yeah, obviously Nathan's one of his best mates. But I don't think Nate was even in the second 11 for New South Wales at that stage. He was toiling away, and he just wanted to have a go. And you guys moved down at the same time, and the rest is history in some sense. All credit to him for taking the opportunity, but you can't fault the effort and determination and spirit.
And I think it's a good message. Like when he wasn't professionally contracted, he was still training and treating himself as if he was a professional. He was training harder than anyone I've seen at that stage of their career, and it was really admirable to see that, and now it's no surprises to see where he is.
Yeah, he's one of the good guys. It's great to see, and in some ways, both of you have got those traits that have, you didn't quite come through the pathway in a traditional sense of the next best young player that's coming through that plays in the Aussie 19s or gets touted as the next big thing. I mean, both you and Nathan, there's a few other names we can mention, have really, really earned it, for want of another term, to really went through, the tried and tested route of scoring lots of runs in grade cricket and second 11 cricket, and then getting an opportunity and taking that opportunity at the first class level. And that's the way. In some sense, it should be. You really
Yeah.
earned that right, and that should
Yeah.
assist your confidence. To know that you actually really deserve to be there.
Yeah. I'm really grateful for the way, for my path. It is different. I didn't really play any underage cricket, but I definitely felt like I could have, but it didn't sort of discourage me. And then when you start performing in grade cricket, it gives you that confidence, that reassurance that you are good enough. So that when I come down here, at least, you've got form, first grade form behind you. You're not just picked on like a good junior carnival or something like that.
But what do you think
Obviously,
gave you? What do you think gave you the confidence? I mean, obviously, you've been a really high performing first grade player in Sydney, and we played together at UNSW. And I watched your journey from, I think, the very first time I ever saw you bat. Actually, you were playing PGs, I think, and we're at Manly, and we were playing after you. So I got there for warm up or whatever, and you were banging them. I think you got some. I don't know if you recall, but you must have got some runs that day because I remember you hitting some
yeah,
sixes down the ground at Manly.
yeah,
And
I remember.
I said to Tim Lang, who's this bloke? Like, he's banging them. And it was you, you were must have been
Yeah,
little then, like you were, early 20s, I guess.
yeah,
And not, soon after that, I think you made your debut with us at Sydney Uni
yep, that's right. Yeah,
against
I
Sydney
batted
Uni.
seven. Batted
I
seven,
remember.
and everyone who came in after me was run out, and I was the not out batsman.
Well played.
But I still, to this day, think they weren't my fault. None of them were my
Red
fault.
ink.
Yeah, I ran
Well,
Lewis
but
Tally out,
well,
hit one back at the hit
that
one
was a
back, and he got.
baptism. You go, sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I hit one back, and the bowler flicked his finger, and
Uh,
he was backing up too far.
but that was a
But yeah,
baptism of fire. I mean, Mark Cameron
yeah,
played that game.
yeah,
Obviously
yeah,
Stud was a New South Wales player and like
mm,
a very highly
yeah,
successful quick bowler and probably a good chance of going all the way if he didn't have injuries to his back
yeah.
and what have you.
That was the first time I'd faced proper fast bowling. I remember it, and I think, I feel like the first time you face serious quick bowling sticks in your mind, and you always, to this day, you're like, it's the fastest spell I've ever faced. But it's just generally the first time you've ever. But I tell people that was one of the fastest spells I've ever faced. I remember he was playing. He just got picked for Australia A, and he took like 5 or 6 against England because they were out for the Ashes.
Yeah.
And he cleaned them all up. And then, sure enough, I'm making my debut, and he rocks up on the Saturday, steaming in at me. But
Yeah.
no, it was good. Yeah, that was kind of that was my debut. But again, in first grade, I think I debuted when I was 18, but I was in and out of the team for probably 3 years, I reckon. And still played probably majority second grade until I was like 21, 22.
Is that right? Yeah. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
your brother Ben, who we played with and you've played a lot with, obviously is a great cricketer as well, and probably a little bit unlucky not to make his first class debut for South Australia some years ago when he was scoring heavily in grade cricket in South Australia and second 11 cricket in South Australia. And you've got another brother, Tommy, who's not a cricketer but all round legend as well.
Yeah. Depends who you ask. He had a good junior career.
Yeah. What was it like? If I take you back to your childhood with Donna and John, another couple of legends.
Yeah.
In Kenzo, did you always live in Kensington?
Yeah. Well, I think we lived in Maroubra when I was first born, and then we moved to Kensington for sort of when the three of us were like young, and then grew up there on the same street.
Yeah.
But
what was childhood like for
mate.
you three? Were you competitive boys in the yard and
Yeah,
all that sort of
yeah,
chat?
yeah. It's just your typical three boys who love all sports. Every sport, to be honest. We obviously played a lot of cricket, but footy, highly competitive, lots of sooking and fights and stuff like that. But it probably builds a lot more, or gives you a lot more, teaches you a lot more lessons than you realize at the time, because you get that hunger to win. And I've always been super competitive, and so have my brothers. And obviously it boils over, but yeah, we were lucky. We had we had a park right next to us across the road. We'd go there after school. They had a couple of nets, had footy posts. So yeah, it was cricket in the summer and footy in the winter.
Well, not many people would probably know about your footy talent. I remember I wasn't actually there, but I remember when you debuted first grade for Randwick, little chip and chase regather under the post. Am I right?
Oh, there's a bit of sprinkle on it, I think. But no, I did. I think I just scored with that. It was like a kick return. They kicked it, and I ran through them. But yeah, like
brushed over
yeah,
that.
yeah. No, yeah. Look, I played rugby union. My dad was a pretty good rugby union player. So we all played and loved it. And you know, I played like a good level, played some schoolboy rugby union, and got to sort of that age where a lot of people across the country, probably more so with AFL, but you got to try to pick one or the other. I think I was 21 maybe. I'd played a season of grade rugby. I played with Randwick, and I think I'd done all right with cricket, and the opportunity came to go play in the UK in our winter, which is obviously when I played rugby, and I took the opportunity to go to cricket. And then that kind of, without knowing at the time, that was sort of the line in the sand, I think, where once you sort of take a season off at that age, it's very hard to kind of come back. I also found that I wasn't really putting in for a pre-season of rugby. I was mainly focusing on cricket while cricket was on, and then even in the lead up to a cricket season, I started, you know, diverting my attention there. So it was a natural decision in the end. But yeah, I have a lot of good mates from rugby, and
any of your mates,
memories.
any big names out of that Randwick team that went on to bigger and better things?
Oh, put me on the spot a bit.
Yeah.
I got a couple of guys from my school rugby team. I went to Waverley, and that played for the Wallabies. Tom English, Sam Talakai. They did really well for themselves. So I didn't actually play with those guys at Randwick, but yeah, there were a few. I honestly can't even remember, to be honest.
Well, there's a bit of a rumour you were getting sniffed around from the Brumbies there for a bit, or their development.
Yeah, I think the Crusaders as well, maybe in Auckland.
Nah. Dan Carter.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, yeah, it sounds like it was a natural evolution just to kind of fall into the cricket world. And then, so if we carry on that pathway, I mean, we started playing together at UNSW. Obviously, you started studying as well at UNSW, and you've completed your degree. What were you doing? Commerce, was it, or business?
Yeah, that's right. I did commerce. Yeah, commerce degree.
When was the time, do you think, in this journey where you thought to yourself, you might want to pursue this cricket career professionally?
I reckon it was probably the first time I played a second 11 game. I played a fair bit of first grade, and because I hadn't really been in the system, I didn't think anyone knew who I was. So I didn't really, at the time, I wasn't really like setting out when I was playing on the weekend to try and put my name up in lights. I was just hoping to play for uni, get a game in first grade, and even guys like you and Murray Creed and Lang and Tim Lang, Jimmy Day, like I just idolize you blokes. So it was like, try and get a game with them. I didn't really think much beyond that. And then I just think naturally, like once you start performing, get some hundreds, and then I probably had like 2 or 3 seasons where I'd put not like amazing numbers together, but like some consistent performances, and showed that I could score hundreds. I got to go playing second 11 down in Tassie, actually, funnily enough. Pat Cummins got injured, and they've replaced him with me somehow. But yeah, that was my first time. That was my first glimpse of like professional cricket, and I thought.
What year was that now? That must have been.
I think that was 2014, maybe.
Yeah.
I reckon 2014.
Yeah, I was going to say
2013 or 14.
And that opened the door in your mind to think, okay, well, I'm a chance here. I'm in the top 20, 25.
Yeah.
I'm a chance here.
Well, I just thought simply like if I score some runs here, it's going to create some headaches for them.
Yeah.
And I knew I sort of thought it'd have to take a lot for me to crack the system. But you do, I think naturally you kind of think you're
Yeah.
further away. Like you said, you think you're further away. I
Yeah.
was probably a lot closer than I ever realized. But
Well, it wasn't.
sometimes that ignorance can be bliss. You
Yeah.
don't. I think like once you start knowing you're like one spot away, you start
Yeah.
like me. I know I do. I just put too much pressure on that one next innings. So
You think
probably a
about the
good thing for
outcome,
him.
and
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
Well, it wasn't long after that. If my memory's correct, that you got a gig for the Sixers, or at least
Mm.
you're in the squad of the Sixers.
Yeah, I got like they called it like a supplementary list at the time. I just
Yeah.
basically was there and went on. I think I was on a trip, um, a couple of games, but I didn't end up getting in the 11. But it was a good experience, you sort of
Yeah.
first time like it was thrown in the deep end, big bash, heaps of people, superstars. I didn't know anyone, no one knew who I was, so
Yeah.
I was
Well,
very much like
I,
sitting
I
back.
I don't mean to bring it up, but I remember one fateful night at Adelaide Oval when
Yeah,
Travis Head had one of the
yeah,
all-time innings,
yeah. He
and
still owes me for that, I reckon.
well, I didn't want to say it, but I think probably that night sent him into stardom,
Yeah,
and
no, I
you
think
should
so.
probably
Yeah,
invoice him for 10% of all of his
yeah,
future earnings. Yeah. So for those
yeah.
that don't
No,
know, poor old Charlie was fielding it. I want to say deep square, deep
deep
point,
cover, deep
deep
cover.
cover. Yeah, I knew you
Yeah,
were in the outfield, and Head was on
yeah,
about
yeah.
20 odd on
I'm
the
telling you,
fateful
there's
night.
nothing harder than 12th man fielding. I
Yeah,
always say it because you're sitting down,
yeah.
not expecting, and then all of a sudden,
You're
bang,
sort
and
you're
then
sort of
yeah,
not
you
involved, and then you
hit
are
one out
involved. Yeah,
straight through the hands on about 20 or 30 maybe, and then
yeah, yeah,
the rest is history. But oh well, it's one of those
yeah.
sort of times in your life that you learn from.
Oh, that's
Um,
great.
yeah, it was fun. I remember after that, but I don't know how these blokes catch them in the outfield. They make
Yeah,
it look
well,
so easy.
there's probably 50,000
It
screaming
was, yeah, it was a New Year's Eve game. There
New
was
Year's
50 something
Eve,
thousand.
mate.
Yeah,
Game on.
yeah.
No, you're right. I mean, I was 12th man, 13th, 14th man fielder guy for the 2012 or 13 Test match against Sri Lanka, and
Shocking.
the boys were coming on and off to go to the
Mm,
toilet. So I'm getting a ball here, a ball there, and
yeah.
every time I went on the field, I was like, oh mate,
Mm,
don't hit it at me. But then ironically, I'd be like, I sort of doubled down on it, where it's like, right, hit it at me because I need to be ready. So I
yeah,
had to kind
yeah,
of play
yeah,
that mentality. But it's
yeah. No, I think as soon as you start thinking you don't want the ball, you're in
yeah,
trouble because it'll come down.
yeah. All right, so talk us through. So, wind the clock forward. You've had another couple of good grade years. You're on the brink again of you're playing some second 11. You're one of the best batsmen in New South Wales grade cricket, but obviously New South Wales often is it's a bit of a logjam at the top with batters and Australian players coming in and out, and I guess what 5 or 6 years ago you were giving an opportunity to head down to Tassie.
Yeah.
Um, how did you find out about that? What was that like? Talk us through those
Um,
moments.
yeah. I got a call from the Tassie CEO who just said just sort of seeing where I was at in my life. I was living with a couple of mates in a share house in Kingsford, working probably for you, Dawes, coaching some kids. And yeah, he sort of said, "Oh, would you be interested in coming down?" And of course, absolutely, like no brainer. A lot of people say, it's hard to move away from home, but for me at that time in my life, it was the easiest decision. So yeah, it came down to Tassie, pretty like fresh face, didn't know many people at all down here. I came with Tom Rogers, who we played with at
Yep.
UNSW, and I played a fair bit of cricket with him. So he came down too, which was nice to have a familiar face
Yep.
around. And obviously Nathan, who we spoke about earlier, but Nathan was on a contract. But
And was it a
yeah, it
1
was
or 2 year contract?
2 years I
Two
came down
years.
on. Yeah,
Yep.
like which is fortunate because they don't hand out multi-year deals very often. But I think
Yep.
sometimes that it's good to know you've got a little bit more time to show what you're worth. And I
Yeah.
think naturally, like, it was going to take me a while to get up to speed. Yeah, and I came in, played some one days at the start and didn't do well at all, and got dropped pretty much, I think, after 3 games. And I just remember thinking, like, oh, it's all right, like, I'll get another crack. And then, like, realised that, like, a year or 2 later, like, it's not easy to just get back into the 11. Like, you've really got to put a lot of performances on the board. So, yeah, I mean, back into second 11 cricket for Tassie for a while. And then I think Bales got injured in a Big Bash game or something. I'd hurt his arm or shoulder. And I'd just done well in the second 11 game. And I was watching on TV, Bales get taken off, and you kind of get that feeling. You're like, oh,
Hang on.
like, gee, we got a Shield game in a week.
Yeah, and they had a
We're gonna have to
policy, one red out, one red in, didn't they?
yeah, that's right. So I met the quota. But yeah, I mean, it's funny, you finally get an opportunity, and I was pretty disappointed for the first, how my first bite at the, like, my first bite at the apple went with the one dayers. So I was really keen to kind of make my next go count.
Well, didn't you just? I mean,
yeah,
for those that don't know, 160 on debut. Against South Australia at Adelaide Oval, and I personally, I was working at a school, a prestigious school here in Sydney, where the expectations of what you do are quite high. And I had the live stream on my phone running
right.
in incognito as I was looking down, and I think if my memory serves me correctly, Travis Head might have been bowling again. Another path cross with the great Travis Head, and and you cut one away, backward a point or forward a point to bring up your 100, because you were on 99 or whatever it was for a while. I was feeling it a bit.
Oh yeah,
as I was watching.
It was such a good memory, but I'd worked so hard that innings to just get there, and even though Heady was bowling, he was actually bowling pretty well. Like, they weren't shockers, and I just, like, thought any moment here I could just step across and try and sweep him for one. But I thought, you'll hate yourself if you do that. Just try and wait. And I was on 99 for, I reckon, 4 overs maybe.
Yeah. Oh, it was wild from my memory.
Blocking back off spin and finally cut one.
He was guarding him in. He was guarding him in.
Oh, I was spinning this far.
Yeah.
No, look, it was just satisfying to. That's kind of like one of those times that a lot of the work that you've done over however many years, you finally get rewards for. So, really cool, really awesome. And at the time, thought I was king of the world. But it's funny, the game humbles you very quickly. And a week's a long time. And it's funny because, like, after you do have success or you bat well, and you often think, like, oh, like, why not just do that every week? I feel like a lot of batters have that thought, and then it's obviously not that easy.
It's not easy to do, but I mean,
no.
I mean, you got to savor those moments. It's a culmination, as you said, of everything that you've gone through. I mean, the support that you've had from your family and your brothers and your friends and the like, and it's important to cherish those moments, because, as you know, they don't come around all the time. So that was a proud moment for yourself and your family, and it's exciting for us to watch.
Fitting at the Adelaide Oval there, where with Eddie as well.
That's right. It's quite serendipitous.
Yeah, that's right.
All right. So, your short form stuff has taken. You've had a few different franchises with the Stars as well.
Yeah, looked a couple of games there.
Short and sharp.
Yeah.
And more recently, obviously, the Hurricanes, and then most recently, the Heat, and most recently the Heat.
Yeah.
What was it like being around those boys? Obviously, they won the
it was
Big Bash, and
it was awesome.
Amazing, right? We were actually I took my 2 older boys, to that game. I don't know if I texted you actually, but the game versus the Sixers, obviously.
Oh, okay.
And I really thought you played, because you played the game before.
Yeah.
So I was actually really pumped. I'm going in there going, oh, mate, Charlie's going to open the batting. I'm like telling my boys, I was pumping my boys up, saying that, how good a bloke you are. And come on, we've sort of got to go for the heat at the start, sort of thing, you know.
Yeah.
And then, much to my and your disappointment, they went with the extra spinner on the
Mm.
SCG pitch, and you missed
Yeah.
out. But
Yeah.
yeah, what was it like being around Lehman and the squad? And was there anything that you could pinpoint out of that culture or out of that squad that gave them their success?
Like it's really nice, I think, going from, one setup to sort of pop your head in for a few weeks and see how everyone else do it, because you have preconceptions of how
Yeah,
playing Queensland in Shield cricket and one day cricket. You sort of it's interesting to see how they go about it, and obviously when you're winning, it's great. I just think the players were really clear on what they had to do, and they sort of led from the front. A lot of them, they were very they all sort of had their defined roles and just nailed them.
mm,
From coming in, it was obviously a really strong bowling unit. So the
yeah,
belief that I think the team had in that sort of, it was almost like, just get as many runs as we can. Doesn't matter if it's not what we'd like. Bowlers can still come and do their job, and if they bowl well, we'll get away with a win.
yeah,
But then, yeah, I mean, you kind of get guys who come in from overseas, like Sam Billings, Colin Munro, the big tall Paul Walter, who add a lot of experience, personality, like calmness, leadership, those things into the group. Sort of just allows everyone else to sort of focus on what they need to do. And yeah, I mean, it's hard for me to comment too much, because I kind of was there at the start, and then I was there at the end. But it's just, yeah, it was interesting to see kind of the clarity that they had in their roles, I suppose.
yeah. I mean, a little thing that I noticed, just a subtle thing when I was watching that game, just being at a game. I don't go to much live cricket anymore. And I remember watching at the start of the Sixers innings, um, Shrepson was fielding it at 45 to Johnson, and he was setting up basically 40, turning his body 45 degrees to get ready to run for the potential ramp.
Mm,
And I remember thinking, I'm like, what's he doing? And then I was watching, I was like, that's a lot of planning. I can't
mm,
recall who was batting, but like whoever it was, it might have been Davies or one of the, ramp
mm, yeah,
aficionados.
yeah,
And he'd already set himself up in a position to start running to try and save a boundary if the batter was going to get into the ramp position. And I remember
mm,
thinking, that's next level planning. He's not just standing at 45 out of the game. He's thinking, okay,
yeah,
this guy's a ramper. I might have to run, etc. And I was like, okay, that's
yeah,
that's next level.
yeah, yeah. I think you're always trying to just find ways to try and pull the odds slightly in your favour.
Yeah,
There's obviously a lot of footage out there. People kind of know how
yeah. What's going on?
roughly, like, what's going on with batters when they're batting and where their scoring zones are. But yeah, as you said, it is crazy to see where the game's at, and where what sort of people are able to do now to try and save a run here or there.
Yeah, it could be the difference.
Yeah, yeah,
So leading into this week, you head off tomorrow to Perth, do you?
yes, yep,
How's the squad feeling? I mean, obviously optimistic,
yep,
confident, etc.
yeah, yep. No, I think we're feeling excited. Probably the main theme running through the group at the moment. Not many in our team sort of played in a Shield final before. Wadey obviously played in heaps. He tells us Victoria, but Silky played one when we last won.
I saw
For
that.
Tassie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I saw the photo.
So yeah, it's a bit of it's excitement, and I think, like, we've still got some good confidence. We've played a lot of good cricket against Perth and at the Wacker over the last 3 or 4 years. So we got no issues going there. Yeah, it's just one of those times. It's an opportunity to perform on a little bit more magnified stage, where you've got a few more eyes and a little bit more on the line. So once I think you get into that situation, if you can try and focus on, like we talked about before, like what you need to do to get yourself right, give yourself the best chance. Yeah, I think then you just go out there and enjoy it.
Yeah, that's great. Well, it's
Mm.
going to be exciting to watch.
Yeah.
All right, I've got a couple of little notes I've taken down just for a couple of little catch cries from you.
Yeah.
Who's the nastiest bloke you face in the nets or have faced in the nets?
Oh.
What's Riley Meredith like off the line?
Yeah, it's probably Riley. He's hit me probably the most times, but
Well, I remember Riley when I played that season at Clarence down in Tassie, and he was, just a little.
yeah,
I mean, he was a
little whippet.
little baby. I mean, he was
Yeah,
too young to play grade
yeah,
cricket when I was coming down, and watch him go to bowling 150 k's and the like
yeah,
is has been an interesting journey.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
No, yeah. Riley's nasty in the nets. He's hit me probably most times, but he's a bit kinder now. I think he's a few years older. He doesn't dig him in too short, which is nice. And if he does, they're at least way over my head.
how are the nets down in Tassie now? They good quality.
Yeah, like you get some good ones, you get some tough ones. It's sort of like batting out in the middle in Tassie, but
Yeah,
we've got a big marquee that we use
I
now
saw
in
that.
our pre-season, which is
That's
really good.
great.
We get out on the wickets a lot earlier. So that's been it's been really good for the bowlers in terms they just get a full run up and can get
Yeah,
bowling hard, like their bowling loads up at the crease.
on the normal grass, not on the
Yeah,
synthetic. Yeah,
yeah, on the turf wickets. We just got
yeah,
to. Sometimes it's tricky for the batters if they got new balls in their hands, so just try and smack the balls when you smack them up a bit when you're tossing them back.
yeah. Exactly. Drag it along the turf a bit.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
All right. When it comes to training off the pitch? Who are some of the fitter guys? I know you've always been up there with the running and the strength and that. You fit little bugger, but
Yeah, waning a bit in my older
oh
age.
yeah, oh yeah,
No, I'm okay. I'm all right. I'm all right. Mac Wright is rapid and
yeah.
he's fit. He
Is
just
he?
runs and goes and goes. Yeah, he's
That's interesting.
fast. Yeah, he and he's strong too. For he's relative, like for his size, relative.
Is he? Yeah.
He's right up there, probably in the squatters.
Good country boy, Mac. Yeah,
Yeah, South Coast.
yeah,
He's one of those guys who's good at everything, I think.
yeah. That's good. He's a good bloke.
Yeah, he's fit. Mitch Allen's big boy. He's strong. He can lift a few weights around.
Yeah,
Yeah, so probably those guys.
yeah. Nice. What have I got here for you? This is a bit easy. Best fielder in the squad. You got to.
You want me to say Silky?
Well, I mean that's what I'm assuming.
Nah,
But yourself?
yeah, nah, Silky for sure. Yeah, he's awesome the way he moves in the field. He's probably one of the better ground fielders I've seen and catches of the ball. Everyone sees how good he is, so I don't really need to talk about it. But
Yeah,
Mac's probably another one for us. Mac's really good,
yeah,
really good mover, good hands. In white ball cricket, he's awesome on the fence.
yep. Oh, speaking of which, someone took a bit of a one-handed hanger on the fence in the one of the last
Yeah, that's
one-day
right.
games. That was a nice little touch. Just a little
Yeah,
silky, use the pun,
yeah.
little one-hander.
I don't reckon he would have got that.
No.
Nah, I probably stuffed it up a bit, and I thought off the bat I was like, oh, it's 6. I better just token, make it look
Yeah,
like I'm gonna get there, and then it just stuck. So
perfect.
that's that's
What
nice.
speaking of those guys, I mean, obviously there's a big element of natural talent there, but I imagine they're putting in some hours behind closed doors, so to speak, on their all aspects of their fielding.
Yeah. Just sort of addressing what you might get in a game, whether it's slips catching, ring fielding on the fence. You sort of try and cover off all those boxes, and put yourself in positions that you might find yourself in a game.
Yeah,
And then I think on game day, it's just probably about attitude. You've got to anticipate and want the ball to come to you and want to be able to make an impression on the game. I think that's what the best fielders do. They, the ball kind of goes in their direction and they want it. They're sprinting after it, or they're calling people out and they want it.
Yeah. All right. What about best player you've seen that didn't become a professional? You're allowed to say your brother.
Yeah. Oh, I'm very biased. I'd say Ben. He was awesome for us when we played together at uni. And then when he went to Adelaide, he did really well I think he was there for 4 or 5 years and dominated.
Yeah.
And then probably another one, he's going to hate me saying this, is Nick Walker. Yeah, he had so much talent. Yeah, I love him, but he's just could play every shot in the book. I had eye like a dead fish. He just hit the middle of the bat no matter what. And
yeah.
he almost had too many shots available. That man, he was so good.
Yeah. He's about to become.
Still is. He's playing for Newcastle. Still playing.
Is he?
Newcastle City, I think, the Sabres.
What's he doing up there? Because I was talking to Adam Dokos actually the other day about Walks.
Yeah.
He's moved up there, has he?
Yeah, he's up there.
Okay.
Him and his wife, they're just about to have their second kid.
Yeah.
And
Nicola, yeah.
Yeah. So no, he's going well. He still plays his cricket though. He plays for the Sabres.
The mighty Sabres,
yeah. So whoever they are, up the Sabres.
Well, we do a few cricket camps and stuff up there, so I'm familiar with the junior Sabres.
Okay.
I'm always trying to get them to advertise.
I think it's Newcastle City, mate. Newcastle City.
Yeah. That sounds right. All right, let me hit you with another couple of little ones. Like the best players you've seen and the best players you've played with, what are some of the character traits you believe they've got, or mentally, what do some of these guys have, do you think, that separates them from the rest of the pack?
Probably clarity, consistency, just knowing what they need to do to get right, and then doing it over a long period of time. I think.
Yeah.
Pretty simple.
It sounds simple, doesn't it?
It sounds simple, yeah.
But often you have to go through a career of ups and downs to find that simplicity, don't
you? Yeah. But you can kind of see it in people when they talk about the game, or even when they're batting or when they're training. You can kind of see it. And there's been times where, conversely, I've been like sort of searching for something, and I can feel that I'm not quite set on what I want to do, and just need to kind of pull myself in and just say, no, let's just focus. Like, let's just dumb it down a bit. Yeah.
The old adage, right? Back to basics. Keep it simple.
All
right. This is probably an obvious question for you, but what keeps you driven? What keeps you driven to succeed and push forward, even after all of the ups and downs and career setbacks and adversity, etc., that you've had to encounter in your journey? Is there something that drives you forward to continue to try to achieve what you're trying to achieve?
Well, I really enjoy the position I'm in, like playing professional cricket with guys you enjoy playing with and winning. So that, like winning probably drives me, because then you sort of create those memories and having those times that you sort of yearn for when you're doing all the hard work. So winning with guys who I really enjoy playing with and spending time with, because what we do is really privileged and lucky to do it. So that drives me. And then I've just got internal competitive drive just naturally. I think like a lot of people as well do. You just, if you're doing something you want to, and you believe that you're good at it, you want to sort of show people that you are, and keep showing people. So that's another big one, I reckon, those two.
Yeah. Forged in the backyard of Kenzo.
Yeah. That's it.
Who was the best backyard cricketer?
Me versus those two.
Was it?
I don't know who the best was. Ben obviously had all the rules, 50-50 straight. So I was probably better with adversity.
All right. best batter you've seen in your journey?
Oof.
Tough question.
That's a tough question.
Pretty open-ended, but
probably Wadey.
yeah.
I think just the way that he's able to hit boundaries from balls that I think
Yeah.
you sort of think how's he got that there. But I also think it's different as a lefty.
Yeah.
Different. The game's different.
Better
But
angles.
I mean he's just good to watch, really.
Yeah.
Really good to watch.
I mean, I was lucky enough. I mean, you're playing with him at the end of his career. I know now he's going to be his last Shield game this week. I was in the squad with him at the start of his career when he started with Tassie.
Okay.
And I remember him coming in to the squad as a young little 17, 18-year-old out of the Aussie 19s or whatever it was. And I distinctly remember one year he came back from a junior tour or something, and he was just on. He was so confident.
Yeah.
And he was just absolutely banging them. And we played a second 11 game in Canberra, and he just came out and whacked 100 against the ACT guys. And he was just fearless, super competitive.
Yeah.
Like as you say, even at that young age, he had a real sense of confidence and clarity about the way he played. And yeah, he that sort of 6-month period in my eyes, I was like, oh, this guy's got it. He went from being sort of little fella in the squad that was finding his feet to within 6 months, I was like, this guy is going to play for Australia. Like he's really got something. So it's been
it's been awesome to sort of get him at this time of his career too, when he's just sort of set and like comfortable and not having to try and prove too much. He's just playing because he enjoys it. And you can kind of feed off that a lot, I reckon.
Yeah, I mean it's almost like a lap of honour for him now. He's done the time, he's done the work, and now he can just kind of cruise through that last bit and hopefully finish with a bang this week with a big 100 and get you boys over the line.
Yeah, that'd be huge.
All right, well, mate, great to chat. Thanks for your time.
No worries.
Good luck
awesome.
this week.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks. Looking forward to it.
Send my best to George and Freddie. I don't think I've met Freddie. Only seen him on the Insta.
We it's hard to get back to Sydney too often, so we'll have to sort something out when we come back next time.
You got any plans this off season? Are you obviously your mind isn't there yet, but
no, I'm gonna be pretty quiet. Try and just take a bit of time off to chill, and we usually start back sometime in June anyway, so we'll get back to Sydney for a week maybe just to catch up with the family, but no, just sort of chill out, I reckon.
Yeah, cool. All right. Well, we'll have to catch up when you're back in town. Keep the lines open, mate. All the best this week. We're all rooting for you. We're looking forward to watching you pile on some runs against those Wackers. And
thanks.
Go
mate.
well, and thanks heaps for your time. I'm sure a lot of the kids we coach are going to love this.
Oh, good. Yeah. No, hopefully they get something out of it.
On your legend.
Sweet. All right, mate. Good on you. Cheers.
See you, dude.